morning, everyone. Our lesson for today is about the rational function. So what is rational function? So it is an expression that can be written as a ratio of two polynomials. So ibig sabihin po, dito, fraction ang laging magiging given. So it can be described as a function where either the numerator, denominator, or both have a variable on it. So a rational function is a function of the form f of x is equal to g of x over h of x. So h of x must not be equal to 0. So bakit po? Kasi kapag nag-0 ang ating h of x, which is the denominator, magkakaroon tayo ng undefined na sagot. So sabi dito, the definition of a rational function specifies that the denominator cannot be 0. So these are the examples of rational function. For this one, f of x is equal to 1 over x. So makikita nyo, denominator lang ang may variable. And for the second one, may variable na ang ating numerator and denominator. Same with this one. So this is included in rational function and this one. So dito, numerator lang ang may variable. So what if the given is 3x? f of x is equal to 3x. Okay. So this is included also in a rational function. Kasi meron tayo ditong denominator na 1. Okay, so ibig sabihin, si numerator ang may variable. So what are the difference between rational equation, rational inequality, and rational function? So these are the differences. For the rational equation, it is an equation involving rational expressions. So example po niya, ito. So, ang palatandaan lang po natin for the rational equation is that meron siyang equal sign. So, pinaghihiwalay niya ang dalawang expression using equal sign. For the left side, we have an expression. For the right side, expression din po. And then for the rational inequality, an inequality involving rational expressions. So, for this one, ang ginagamit nating symbol is less than or equal, less than, greater than or equal, or greater than. So, mga ganyan lang po ang ginagamit natin. And for the rational function, so ito yung kanyang example. So, wag malilito kasi meron din siyang equal sign. Pero, ang nasa left side niya is h of x or pwede rin maging f of x, a of x, g of x. So, depende kung ano yung ginagamit. And, alam naman natin na it is equal to y. So, if the given is like this, it is included in rational function. So, what are the domain of rational functions? So, pag sinabi nating domain, so that is x, the value of x. So, dito, ang kailangan lang po natin gawin ay iwasan na maging undefined or equal to 0 ang ating denominator. So, how to find rational or how to find domain of the rational function? So, for the number 1, we have f of x is equal to x minus 2 over x plus 5. So, ang kailangan lang po natin gawin is hindi mag-0 ang ating denominator. So, ano yung pwede mong i-substitute sa x na hindi mag-0 ang denominator? So, ito po. So, since x plus 5 is equal to 0, only for x is equal to negative 5. So, ibig sabihin po, hindi pwedeng maging negative 5 ang x because negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So, the domain of f is the set of all real numbers except negative 5. So, pag sinabi natin set of all real numbers, any number, kahit anong number, wag lang ang negative 5. Next, for the number 2, we have the denominator of x squared minus 1. So, ano ang bawal sa kanya? So, hindi siya pwedeng mag-positive 1 at negative 1. So, the domain of f is the set of all real numbers except positive 1 and negative 1. Because 1 times 1 minus 1 is 0 and negative 1 times negative 1 is 1 minus 1 that is equal to 0. So, mag-undefined yung ating function. Next, for the number 3, x minus 1. So, ang bawal lang sa kanya is 1. So the domain is the set of all real numbers except positive 1. Next, for 4, ang bawal sa kanya is positive 3 and negative 4. Next, for the number 5, so bawal dito ang positive 3 and negative 3. So, graph of rational function. So, mag-start tayo sa pinaka-simplest form ng rational function, which is 1 over x. So, dito, pag nag-graph tayo, so kukuha lang tayo, magbibigay tayo ng sariling value ng variable x. So, dito, ang ibinigay is from negative 10,000 to positive 10,000. So, nakadepende naman sa inyo kung ano yung gusto nyong ibigay na value for x. So, if the given is this, so negative 10,000 to positive 10,000, kailangan lang natin siyang i-substitute dito sa variable x. And then, kapag sinolve natin siya, ang magiging value ng f of x or y ay ito. Mga yan. So, kung makikita nyo, if our x is equal to 0, magiging undefined ang ating y. So, paano magiging undefined? Dahil nga po, 0 ito. And then, ito pa yung kanyang mga values. So, pag pinagbaliktad naman natin siya, same pa rin. So, from negative 0.0001 hanggang positive 0.0001. So, same pa din. If our x is 0, undefined pa rin ang magiging sagot. So, paano po siya i-graph? So, kapag ang ating function ay nag-undefined, ibig sabihin mapuputol yung ating graph. Kaya po naging ganito. So, tandaan, the graph of rational function is laging dalawa dahil putol sila. Okay po? So, napuputol sila kung saan nag-undefined ang ating function. So, dito, paano natin malalaman kung alin yung hangganan ng kanilang graph, like this one? So, meron tayong tinatawag na asymptote. So, what is asymptote? So, it is the line where the graph of a function is approaching and getting closer but will never cross it. So, yung dalawang graph natin is pwedeng maglapit ng maglapit pero hindi sila magdidikit. Okay po, hindi nila pwedeng i-cross ang asymptote. So, meron tayong tinatawag na vertical asymptote of rational function and horizontal. So, for the vertical, we have, it can be determined by equating the denominator to 0 and finding the value of x. So, wala tayong problema sa pag-solve ng vertical asymptote. Kailangan lang natin kunin ang denominator and then equate to 0 and then solve for x. Next, for the horizontal asymptote of rational function, it can be determined by looking at the degree of the polynomials. So, pag sabi nating degree, ito yung pinakamataas na exponent sa numerator and denominator. So, kailangan lang natin observe yung ating degree. So, we have 3 possible cases in finding horizontal asymptotes. First, if the degree of numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator, so that is equal, then the horizontal asymptote is the quotient of the leading coefficients. So, pag sinabi natin coefficient, it is the term containing the highest degree sa numerator and denominator. Okay, so for example number 1, so determine the vertical and horizontal asymptote of rational function. So for this step 1, we need to find the vertical asymptote. So wala tayong ibang gagawin, kailangan lang natin kunin ang denominator, which is 21x minus 3. So 21x minus 3 is equal to 0. Always yon, lagi natin i-equate sa 0. And then solve for the value of x. So si negative 3 transpose sa right side, magiging positive 3. And then divide both sides by positive 21, cancel na siya. And then 3 divided by 21, that is 1 over 7. So our vertical asymptote is the line x is equal to 1 over 7. Next, for the step 2, horizontal asymptote, since the given is in the first case, so the degree of numerator is equal to the degree of denominator. So the degree of this is 1. So pareho silang 1 ang exponent. So ang kailangan lang natin gawin is to divide the coefficient, which is 7 and 21. So ito lang yung kukunin natin, 7 divided by 21. So that is 1 over 3. Next, for the second case, if the degree of the denominator is greater than the numerator. So the line y is equal to 0 or the x-axis is the horizontal asymptote. So hindi natin kailangan mag-solve. If the given is like this, y is equal to 0 ang ating horizontal asymptote. By example, determine the vertical and horizontal asymptotes of the rational function. So this is the given. Okay, for the step 1, we need to get the denominator, which is x squared minus x minus 42. So the given is in quadratic form. So kapag quadratic ang given, kailangan lang natin siyang i-factor. So the factor of x squared minus x minus 42 is x minus 7 times x plus 6. So silang dalawa, i-equate natin kay 0 and then solve for x. So transpose negative 7 to the right side magiging positive and positive 6 to the right side magiging negative. So we have positive 7 and negative 6. So these are the vertical asymptotes. Next, so since the degree of the denominator is greater than the numerator, then the horizontal asymptote is the x-axis or y is equal to 0. So automatic na yan. Next, for the third case, if the degree of the numerator is 1 more than the denominator, then the graph will have an oblique asymptote. So, ibig sabihin po, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng horizontal asymptote. Oblique asymptote ang magiging sagot or slant. Nakaslant yung ating asymptote. So, if the given is oblique asymptote, ito yung kanya magiging form. So, f of x is equal to mx plus b plus gx over hx. And the line y is equal to mx plus b is an oblique asymptote for the graph of f of x. Okay, so for the example number 3, determine the vertical and horizontal asymptotes of the rational function. So this is the given. So mas mataas ng isa ang numerator kaysa sa denominator. So for the vertical asymptote, get the denominator which is x plus 3. So we have x plus 3 is equal to 0. And then solve for x. Transpose positive 3 to the right side. So magiging negative 3. So this is our vertical asymptote. Next, to find the oblique asymptote, ayan, so kailangan lang natin i-divide ang numerator sa denominator. So, how to divide polynomials? So, si numerator nandito sa loob, x squared plus 8x minus 20 and then divided by x plus 3. So, ang ginamit ko dito is the long method. So, pwede nyo rin naman gamitin ang synthetic method. Depende kung saan kayo mas nadadalian. So, how to divide polynomials? So, first term divided by the first term. So, x squared divided by x, that will be x. So, ito yon. And then x times x, this will be x squared. And then x times 3, that would be x or 3x. Ayan. And then minus mo sila. And then cancel na si x squared. So, 8x minus 3x, that is 5x. And then bring down negative 20. Again, yung ating first term dito, i-divide sa first term nito. So, meron tayong 5x divided by x, that would be positive 5. And then positive 5 times x, that is 5x. And then 5 times 3, that is positive 15. So, minus lang. So, 5x minus 5x, wala na siya. And then, negative 20 minus 15, that is negative 35. So, ito, remainder na siya. So, tandaan, kapag may remainder, i-add natin siya dito. So, magkakaroon tayo ng y is equal to x plus 5. Ito yun. X plus 5. Since this is negative, magkakaroon tayo ng minus 35 over x plus 3. So, kakopyahin lang natin yung denominator. And then, ilalagay natin siya sa ibaba ng remainder. But, ang kailangan lang natin kunin for the oblique asymptote is y is equal to x plus 5. So, that is y is equal to mx plus b. So, ito lang po yun. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening.